Yeah, there's some that they need to be cut back, that's for sure, and I think that's what their intent is now, is to, unfortunately, it's a small back road with trees real close to the road, and I think that's part of the problem they're having, is those trees are interfering with clear drainage, water coming onto the road, lifting the road, causing issues.
So my question to you, John, about did they revise yours, the reason why I was asking that is, I know when they originally did this print on day one, they had an ideal, you know, this is the starting point, if you will. But as they actually installed that water line down there, they got a better taste of where that ledge was. And depending on where that ledge was, may have altered where that run, that lateral was gonna go. And so I was curious if that's why there was a revision with yours.
I think the first one I saw that I asked them to move it off the driveway was the one after they did the ledge samples in the road. And then so that second set had it moved. And this third final set still has it moved to where they're gonna come straight in from the road.
I think that's gonna be up for consideration as to where these water lines are actually gonna enter properties, is what they just found as they went down the road. If they know they're in rock here and they can go down 15, 20 feet and there wasn't rock, that might, you know, they might wipe out the tree to not have to
And
blast.
I know right in front of my street, they blasted up to almost my mailbox, and then they couldn't go any further because it was too close to the gas pipeline. So they almost would have had to go through ledge to come up my driveway. Now that it's blasted, they're probably still going to have to blast some, or I don't know if they cut, I'm not sure how they do the laterals, but they'll be going through ledge either way.
Yeah.
At least up for my house.
Yes, Jim.
Yeah, we're on H-Foot Road. We've been getting a lot of complaints about trash on H-Foot Road, tires.
Yep, that at the bottom, yep.
I had them cleaned up, I went out there. Jerry was kind enough to pick them up, but they were like truck tires. Someone had decided that they didn't realize that the transfer station was closed. And they decided, well, the best way to do it was pull off the side of the road and just dump them out. If you ever see anyone dumping stuff, write their license plate number on it. Because that costs the town, you know, some money to get, and Jerry had to go out and send a crew out with a bigger truck, because I thought some of the tires were in Southbridge. No, they went out and said, no, they're all in Charlotte, just over the line.
Huh, I thought 102 was the last of
I
Charlotte.
thought it was in Southbridge, but
Could have
Heather
rolled
said
it a
no.
little bit
Yeah,
further
go
But
down.
ahead.
trash
Before you
has
call,
been dumped on
right.
Burlingame Road because of the transfer station. I'm trying to get people to realize, and on our website we updated. I just met with Casella this week, and I know Kathleen stopped in, is that we're trying to get back to Southbridge and get it clear what they can take, but some people just won't go to Oxford, and decided it is easier to dump their trash out on the side of the road.
Did you see that toilet up on Stafford and Hammond
I
Hill?
tried it on Facebook.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's, yeah, we're talking about that recycling thing tonight.
Clear Barton Circle up there or whatever it
You
was.
serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to call Jerry on that one, but
I'm sure PD did, because it was on the Charlton PD website, at least that's where I saw it, and it was like, there's no need of this, you know.
no, I strongly encourage the residents to, the Oxford transfer station is open just as it was in Southbridge. We've had some discussion on what you can and can't bring. You know, one bulk item, whether it's a mattress or a couch in a week, and you know, and we're updating. But some people just decided that they're not going to drive there, and they're dumping stuff on the side of the road. We don't want that. You know, and we have to get it picked up.
Yeah, last year on Earth Day, Trump Earth Day, we picked up 200 bags of trash all over town with big bags.
And you probably could have picked up another 200 easily,
Well,
right?
We're trying to get people to adopt the road.
Yeah.
That's a good
So that,
idea. You see that on the highways.
Yeah.
So
Adopt
Phil
the
Road
road
was
and
beautiful,
pick it
huh?
up.
Oh, that's a mess.
How do you
out
do
towards
that
Sandwich.
program, Adopt the Road?
Well, just for that week, people come into, that's my dog.
Oh,
He wants to
jeez.
get fed. I shouldn't have totally used the system. But anyway, they can pick up the yellow bags at the senior center the week of Earth Fest. That's Earth Fest the 27th, that coming week. And then whatever road they sign up to, they can sign up online. And we'll mark it off, and then try to get all the roads in the town picked up by somebody. And so then they spend that week or that day picking up trash. And Casella brings a dumpster up back here, and they're going to continue to do that. And we dump the bags in the dumpster. Well, they dump them in, and then they can come in and maybe
it's a good idea, I think it's great. I think you need to keep Charlton clean, and if people think they can throw their trash on the side of the road, 20, 25 bags, but it's so far in that Jerry can't go on private property, and there's no house on there, and it's on the power line, you try to get somewhere.
Well, it turns out what's happening now too is that people are hunting and dumping deer carcasses around, and they dump them, they say they're gonna go back to nature, but they dump them so close to the road that it's really pretty bad. And, so a lot of people are complaining about deer carcasses.
Jim, if I
They
could,
got the deer and take the parts that they want and leave the rest.
you mentioned Oxford Transfer Station,
Yep.
and date and time was not mentioned, but it's my understanding it's Saturday from 8 till noon. Is that when they will accept
Yes,
trash from any Charlton resident
or employee.
or employee?
Yep.
And if you're both, you get a gold star,
You get a gold star.
because you drop off the trash and, right? So, anyway, that's a nice service, and that hopefully won't go away anytime
And you can
soon.
bring your air conditioners, tires, but
For
there's
a fee, yeah,
For a fee.
but still, it's nice to have that.
And through the chair, Robert's talking to Casella about what about the item, so you could bring a couch or a bed.
We did
To Oxford.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can
But
pay
that's
for it
not-
at Auburn anytime, right? He said you go to
You
Auburn
can pay
anytime,
for
they're
it
open.
anytime if you want to pay for it.
If you wanna pay for it, you go to Auburn. Like 19 Main Street's an inspection, he's cleaning up, he brought his stuff to Auburn, because you can go there any day, but you have to pay.
For trash and bulky items?
Bulk items, yeah.
Okay.
Do you have to be a contractor for Auburn?
No,
What's the fee, do you know?
it changes according to market, he said, it changes all the time. Because one day he said 20, next day people come in and tell him 25. It's because that's what the price is at the time to get rid of it. And people are upset that they're telling him a different price, he said, because it changes.
Oh, you're talking bulky items, like
Like
metal or
Metal, or
mattress
TVs, or tires and stuff like that.
But just standard household
You could
trash?
bring one bulky item. Standard household trash is free to Charlton residents.
Yeah, in Oxford, but
And
you
what about
mentioned,
the other?
yeah, but you also mentioned Auburn. I was just trying to get a feel.
Well, Auburn, say you wanted to bring a couch, you didn't want to wait,
Right.
you'd have to pay
You
for
want to
that.
wait till Saturday.
If you don't want to wait till Saturday.
Right, yeah.
Remember, this is for residential drop-off, they don't want businesses, you'd have to go to Auburn if you're a business.
Okay, all right.
But
Yeah, Oxford's close.
Right.
if, oh, go ahead, Ken.
Well, I was just gonna say that I think there's a law that's trying to be passed in Massachusetts where the bedding companies will take back the bed.
There's a place, we talked about with, our meeting, that there's a place out in, I forget the town, he said, where they'll take the old mattresses, and when he takes the cloth, he takes the metal, he takes the wood, and he breaks them apart, and he gets paid for the metal and the process, and they get reprocessed. My only thing is, this old TV show on 60 Minutes where they were just putting stuff over the top of old mattresses and putting them in hotels, so,
Oh.
it's a little nervous.
Yeah.
But isn't there a law trying to be passed where the mattress company, when they deliver a mattress, they'll take the old mattress?
It hasn't passed yet, but that's something that they were discussing, but it has not passed yet.
Right, so that's underfoot.
Like, when you,
Well, maybe not underfoot, but.
like when you buy your oil from somewhere, they have to take it back, whatever they're saying, if you buy a mattress, you have to bring it back to us.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
so we were talking about fees at Oxford or Auburn. I believe, just say you didn't make it to that Saturday, but you wanted to go bring anything to one of those facilities, say during the week or whatnot when they were open. Generally speaking, you pay per ton on those fees, and there's a minimum payment.
Oxford
75
Road?
bucks, right?
75 is the minimum, so if you went in there, just say you went in there and, say you did a house clean out, and you had a truckload or a trailer load of debris, it's $75 minimum, I believe, and you would pay tonnage on that, so if you were a ton, you're gonna pay for a ton, so 75 is the minimum, but a ton you'd be paying more than that, and I think the tonnage rate is around 125,
Per
maybe
ton?
130 per ton,
Sounds about right.
so.
You're
I don't
actually
know what
right.
it is.
Yeah, that's what we discussed in our meeting. We had a meeting with Paul Dignan, He's the general manager of the Auburn and Oxford sites. So we met with him to discuss the issues of clarification of what Charlton residents could bring. And I think that it is on 200 Leicester Street in North Oxford. So for clarification to the residents, in case anyone watches this, I just wanted to bring that up.
That's also Route 56.
Yes.
That's the Lester line.
Because some people have trouble finding it, and I think they're calling here every day. We're getting calls. I went to there and I couldn't find it. I think it's a pretty long driveway up and in there. I'm going to take a visit myself.
There are signs.
It says enter from Route 56 North and exit onto Route 56 North. And we accept at no charge municipal solid waste trash, 2 30-gallon trash bags or 4 15-gallon bags. Recycling single stream, see guidelines on reverse. Do not bring any recycling in bags, they want to separate it. Bulky item, 1 per week, and that's what was the issue. They were starting to charge. They decided that they would accept 1 bulky item per week now. That means you can bring a couch or a chair, or a mattress.
Has that been resolved?
He said that, yes, he's decided that that would be later when you left, that he's made a determination, he thinks that that would be the issue, that he would accept that item.
Okay,
One item,
right.
okay? And scrap metal, of course, scrap metal they get paid for, so if you can bring metal, they'll take it, it goes into the scrap metal. We do not accept commercial waste, hazardous waste, paints, chemicals, oils, fluorescent bulbs, batteries, electronics, leaf yard waste. And that's one of the things we used to be able to bring up to, they had a drop-off for leaf and yard waste, and we no longer have that, so we have to make plans for that. And construction and demolition debris. Items charged at 25 are air conditioners, dehumidifiers, refrigerators, tires, propane tanks, TVs, and computer monitors. So this will be updated, and we're working on some other issues, but I just wanted to update that while the board was here. I think
$25 a tire?
And I
Yeah.
believe a truck tire is 50.
you're correct.
No wonder people are leaving them on the side of the road.
Exactly, and now with the town, and we just picked, I think there were, I counted 15, I took pictures, and I thought most of them were in Southbridge, so I called Southbridge, so we'll be right up. Well, I went out there measuring the line, and guess what, they were in Charlton. That turnaround's in Charlton.
So
If you buy a tire, don't they take the tire back?
you pay.
Okay,
pay
you have to pay for a recycling fee.
Yeah, but if, like at Dick's, where I've been getting mine done, $5?
3,
I
4,
think
5.
I think it's maybe 5,
Yep.
Takes us good.
yeah.
I think there's a few, I think ADT does tires, and they have a, you know, their fees $2, $3, $4, $5, whatever,
Yeah,
you know.
that's right.
There is a facility at a higher level, at a commercial level, where if you had 100 tires, or 200 tires, or 300 tires, I actually called DEP on that, and I ran into a project, and it was just infested with tires. I'm like, where do you get rid of tires, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You can't pay $25 a piece for them.
That's your,
Yeah, it's, you know, so, I looked into it. There is a place, it's on, I believe it's New Bedford, Mass, and I believe it was Bob's Tire, that accepts bulk items. And they'll also send you a trailer truck where you can fill them and stuff like that. But if you had like a lot of tires, there's companies out there, I just used one example, but there's companies out there that will take them in bulk, so. And I know there's some in Massachusetts.
and one time there was a guy taking them to make blasting mats out of big, huge truck tires, but I don't think there's a big need for it right now, but at one time they used to make blasting mats out of that.
Oh, yeah.
They last forever, so I don't think there's a big market for those, but you're right. They used to grind them up and put them, you see the AstroTurf fields, you see that black stuff that's kicked
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, now they're finding that the kids are inhaling that
Exactly.
particles, and it's getting into their lungs. So, point of clarification, I think
Yep.
I earlier said that the hours for the Saturday for the Oxford was 8 to noon?
7 to noon.
It's 7 to noon.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yep.
if people get up early like I do, by 7 o'clock my day is, I'm already looking forward to lunch. But, so 7 o'clock is nice if you wanna get up there and do it, and I'm telling you, with the trash, I don't.
Now, this is
what I
subject
pay.
to change.
I know, but I'm just saying, it's getting to the point where I'm
Because-
spending $500 or $600 a year just for my wife and me for
Yep.
just a couple of bags of trash and then the recycling. I could stop by there
Yes.
and save myself hundreds of dollars.
Yeah,
So,
and I just, to the chair, I just,
Yes.
found out today that, a friend who does have Casella said they've gone up significantly in prices.
Well, we gotta
So
haul
by
it somewhere else.
25%, so, yeah, this is an option, free option.
Right. Well, it's a
And
it's a
especially
great
if you live
service.
over near there, but even if you don't, just
Yeah.
light your oven, it's just right down 56 or whatever.
Well, you do it if you're going to Walmart or going to the Auburn Mall or something, and you're out Saturday morning. Yeah,
Yeah,
but still for free.
Yeah.
that's our option. I just hope everyone utilizes it and stop dumping trash on the side of the road because it's not acceptable.
Well, I would like to say out loud to Casella, thank you for allowing us and maintaining that option for us, because I know they did switch it up for us, and we're grateful to have that.
Absolutely.
We have it for another 5 years.
Yeah,
5 years, okay.
They did a very good job.
so it's good that Casella,
And I
So
thank-
they're still picking up the
Paul
town,
Dignan was very
the
nice.
town trash, you know, the municipal trash.
Yes, they are, but Paul Dignan, who we met with, was very nice, very open to, doing what he can to help out the Charlotte residents.
Yeah.
So that's just a transfer station in
Yes.
Oxford? Okay.
It's a little harder, in Southbridge you could drive up and they were below,
Yeah.
so people could open up and drop it. Now it's hard for people to get a bulk item up and over into the dumpsters. I mean, he's trying to change those things and have his staff help out if he can, because you gotta throw a chair up in a dumpster, it's not that easy, so.
All right, anything else?
Yeah,
Mark?
question. Are they completely done at the dump now, or are they still doing work up there, or?
Well,
I
this still
think
good work.
yeah, they're still,
We're still getting odor complaints.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask, because the odor hasn't gone away, and I thought once it was completely capped and done, that
It's
was
not capped.
gone.
yeah, they're
So
still,
how long before that's actually?
I know that this board asked me to reach out to the Southbridge Board of Health to ask what's going on with the monitoring up there. So I met with the Vice Chairman, Roland Arshel, and I met with Andy Pelletier to discuss, what happened to the monitoring. He said that the DEP is taking control of third-party monitoring, has hired their own people for oversight for closure.
DEP has.
Yes.
Okay, so somebody's up there anytime there's operations
So
where they're disturbing?
DEP knows what's going on because they're there.
Right.
They have eyes and ears on site right now.
And they are still
They're really reshaping and grading and still
reshaping,
capping,
yeah.
so there is gonna be some, but as far as, there's not any more of that exposed trash issue is supposed to be gone away, the DP's right there. The Board of Health, Vice Chairman Roland expressed that he feels the same way you guys do, that there should be no open trash. Things should be covered, there were birds up there, there should be no birds. There was an issue with odor, he smelled it, he called, Vice Chairman of the Southbridge Board of Health called in an odor complaint, just by riding around. So he wants to know, he's right there, they discussed that in the meeting, that this is not acceptable. BP is aware of it, they're there.
So if you do come across anything, please call in.
Yeah, we're still smelling it, but, I mean, do they have a timeline, or an expected timeline, or?
I don't have any clue, and I'm not sure if they have a definitive answer for that at this point, because I think it's fluid, that the DEP's overseeing and making do this, and this, so. I haven't heard from Tracy. When I emailed her, she emailed me back, but it was on a different matter, but speaking to Andy, who has oversight in the Southbridge Board of Health, also, that they're having the same issues of trying to get things answered themselves.
John Jordan.
Tracy mentioned at one of the past Southbridge Board of Health meetings that the permanent cap isn't gonna continue till the spring now. They passed the point in October where they needed 4 days, I think, we mentioned above a certain temperature
Yeah.
to put it down, and it didn't happen, so it's not even gonna be able to go down until the spring to finish some of the permanent cap, so they're doing what they can for the winter. They do have to winterize, they got to make preparations and things for runoff and snow and everything else, and they're working on that, I guess, still shaping.
Yep, and the colder it is, the more order you have.
But their cap won't take place anymore until the spring, no more cap. No, unless that's changed.
So we can expect this odor until at least spring.
Yeah, probably early summer, I would think.
I would hope not, but until they can fully cap that, and it's.
Right.
Well, that's all, I didn't know if they had like an expectation, like, spring, summer, or is this time next year, there's still gonna be, you know?
I think it's gonna be quite a while before that's fully capped, to be honest.
Anything else from the folks in the audience? No? Jim, department head reports?
Well, basically, the thing I wanted to discuss, I know we discussed vaping and we discussed time bond and those issues, but the Title V engineering services, I know Jamie Terry is temporarily, but I think that's something that the board needs to discuss, that it's under the purview of the board. And I did talk to Robin, and we don't need to go through human resources and all that, because I think if we take it as an engineering services, as we have in the past, that we should entertain sending this out to bid.
We should.
Yes.
Okay. So the job would be posted, is that what you're saying?
Well, I think we would put it out that, you know, Board of Health is entertaining bids for Title V services.
Okay.
And we would take a look at people's, you know, what they would have. I think that Jim Malley had Malley Engineering Services. He held his own insurance. He had his own business. I think that that was something that was different from here because he owned Malley Engineering, which he had his own liability insurance. He did a great job. He was with 6, 7 towns. I think if you take someone in now and they don't have the same, it may change that whole aspect of how we worked and how we paid for that.
And the liability.
And the liability is now back on, and I think Jim assumed all liability. That's why he was very, when he said there was 25 feet was the minimum, because Jim knew that that was acceptable practice, and we always trusted. Anything Jim said or brought before this board or said to me, I took it as, he knew what he was doing. He was very, and I think we need to get someone that is the same, and if someone can't work under those guidelines, and I think it just protects the board, and I think when Title V changes, that's why all the towns, and Jim was so busy, because they wanted to free themselves, because it's so time consuming and so much liability that we sent it out, and Jim did a great job for the town shop for many, many years, as he did for several other towns that are now looking for Title V services. But I think to take someone in and put them under the scope of the board and under that, then it has to go through human resources, and I think the board should serve the same purpose as we had with Jim. And like we do with CMG, we don't ask anyone that's under the purview of the board. So I'm not sure how you want to go about that, if I would post it, take out some applications and present something to the board. Because I think if the person we get has to really continue on as the way we did, where we changed up things that happened here. I know things were starting to get a little out of whack. We have new personnel, Andrew and Kim and myself, and it's been working great for almost 5 years now. And with Jim gone, we need to make sure someone's going to continue to give the quality of service in the field that Jim did in a timely manner. And I don't think, because we don't need someone taking 45 days to review a plan. And that's what Title V law says, 45 days. And Jim was doing Tuesday to Tuesday.
1 week turnarounds.
1 week turnarounds. And you know what? And no complaints. People were happy. They were getting their plans reviewed. Everything is organized. We're getting things in a timely manner. And I think, you know, now we need to make sure, and especially for me, if I'm going to assure this board that this department's running smoothly and that everyone's following along, being polite to the general public and being courtesy in a timely manner and getting things done. Because we're public servants, and I take it as, what is my job is to, what can I do to help you into compliance? Not to come to you and say, you did this wrong, you did that wrong. I always go into that is, what can I do for you and how can I help you? And if we can come to an impasse that you can't comply, then we meet there. But there's no no in there. And I think that Jim was very kind to people in the field. People respected him. He was courteous. He shook your hand. He smiled. And I think we need to continue that. But he had his own insurance for himself. If you bring him under the town side, I think it may change things up as how we hire, because then you have to go through human resources. This is engineering service, which the board is under the purview because you're an autonomous board, and you can hire that way. We can keep it the same. We have the account for Title V services, a change, which we have, we pay out of that, which doesn't cost the town. The installers pay for that, and we pay for services.
Yep.
As we check them and they're done, and we check off, we have a sheet, each thing that's done, we pay at the time, and at the end of the month, when things are done, Andrea sends out the check to Jim, because he did all A, B, C, and D, and it's done, and it ran smoothly. because there's a lot of work that goes into that, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
things. And Charlton's very, very busy with installations.
So just, if I may, so just Jim, generally speaking, Jim's job, if
Yes.
you will.
Yep.
So engineer would drop off a set of prints on a certain day. In Jim's case, it was Tuesday. He would pick up those prints.
Yep.
He would review them throughout the week. And then if he didn't find anything wrong with them, stamps them, you're approved. On the following Tuesday, he would come back and say, here's your return ones, what new ones do you have? So it was a Tuesday to Tuesday.
Yep.
If he found something that was wrong, then he would kick it back for a revision and say, this isn't right, this isn't right. So now the engineer on that Tuesday might say, all right, we got a revision. Do whatever they need to do to bring it into compliance and then and go back and forth. So the timing is important because people are trying to sell houses, move into houses, and so that was a big part of the review period, is getting on it and getting in and Johnny on the spot, if you will. And I think that time frame is reasonable. If anything, I think it may exceed what other towns are doing. And
What, the Tuesday to Tuesday?
Tuesday to Tuesday. So the worst case scenario.
Same day.
Worst case scenario, you submit your plans on a Wednesday, it sits idle in this office Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and now Tuesday he gets it. So he's already lost the week because it's in here, but that's up to the installer to get it here before that Tuesday. The other thing that was happening though now through technology and how things have been changing is he's been getting them emailed to him directly from. So to actually drop these things off is formality. He's already seen these things because of emails and whatnot.
PDF files.
PDF, so he has additional time to review them. He's actually only taken those prints to physically stamp them, a lot of times.
Yeah, and like Mark Farrell, he'll just send them over to Jim, and I already know Jim will call me. Mark Farrell already sent them. I'll be in to stamp them. And if I have to, I would drive to Jim's house when we had issues, and Jim was ill. He couldn't be around people. He would just stamp them, and I would bring them back.
Mhm.
But you're right. We've had them in the office and stamped that day.
Yep. So the other thing that happens is, in the field, right, so now, okay, here's your print, go put it in your septic system. First day, the excavation company goes in, they dig. They might only dig for 2, 3, 4 hours. Now you're already at your first inspection. Jim used to come out within 24 hours. I mean, if he wasn't there within 24 hours, he would say, I'm jammed up and I won't be there. But within 24 hours, if not the same day, he comes out, he does the bottom inspection so that contractor can move on. Because the contractors,
Sitting
their
there.
excavators are there. Not everybody has more than one excavator, so now you're waiting 2, 3, 4 days, whatever the law allows. It's not fair to the contractor to be waiting for someone for that inspection. There needs to be a timely, someone that can do the best they can. I mean, things happen, but, and then now everything after, okay, so you get the blessing, you build your system. Now everything's out in GPS, so that's back to, you used to have to go out there and shoot everything and all that. Now it's all GPS, and you can review and make sure everything meets the criteria that was approved. And so that part makes it easier. It's desk work, not in the field work. But that was the majority of what Jim would do.
Yeah.
Of course, now you come across a variance where there's something that you need to go for a local upgrade or a variance, then reviews it, checks out Title V, and then makes recommendations to this board. So,
Yeah, I think I had Jamie on as the backup because she was in Sturbridge, and Sturbridge kind of covered for Charlton. Southbridge covered for Charlton if we needed to. We kind of worked in that triangle. And she stepped up to do some inspection in the back. I think I spoke to Rob, and she said that based on legal things, that it would be, you'd probably have to post it. You can't just award the job to someone, so everyone, you know, if someone wants to do the job under those, and can provide their own insurance and work under their own auspices, and we pay them the same way, I think we should stick to that, what we're doing.
I agree. I don't know how you two feel, but it sounds like it's in the best interest of the town and of the residents, and I think also, while I'm thinking of it, we should put in specific guidelines or expectations regarding, in this case, a Tuesday to Tuesday turnaround or a 1 week turnaround, and not
You're right.
You know, not just leave it wide open and somebody comes back and says, well, you know, I'm busy and
Yeah,
I'm off
Yeah.
on vacation,
And
so I got 45 days.
And I think as a director and under the guy, you know, I work under the authority of the board, that I want to continue to provide a good quality service out of this department. And to move forward, I don't want to take steps back and have to have someone in here who's, I'll work at my own pace, or he or she, or maybe I think that they work under the direction of the board, and I as the director would say, you need to, we're not waiting,
Right.
that you've already exceeded your time, and I think we have to have a strict policy to say, hey, there is some leeway, but you can't take all this time. We're not holding up people, and I think that's how they make money. Is the incentive is to go out to do the perk tests, to go out and do all the inspections. As you do them, you get paid. And if you do the plan review, you get paid. You stamp it, you get paid, and that's how we pay out. As soon as those are done and we check off, and at the end of the month, that's a check that goes out for services that are rendered.
It should be written down, I would think. If it wasn't with Jim or however it currently reads, I don't know what the job description reads and what the criteria is, the guidelines, the wishes of the board, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
I think that we should have this very clearly defined, written, and whoever decides to come on board, whoever we decide, if they have the correct qualifications, it should be a signature that they agree. And yes, there's going to be some exception. You're going to have whatever,
Right.
a hurricane,
Sure.
A
freezing,
vacation.
Your vacation, or whatever.
personal things, but we should try to keep it as close to the service level that Jim Malley provided.
So you're talking about like creating a policy?
Yeah, so a guideline or something.
Well,
so
just
that-
like anyone in this, we expect that the job description identifies how you work under the guidance. And I think that the approval authority lies with the board, and I think we should keep it that way, whether you want me to bring a recommendation forward or 3 people forward. But I think the recommendation should come to the board, because you're the approval authority, like you approve CMG for environmental services. They work directly for this department, but they're under the authority and guidance, I as the director, but I work through the board. I think we need to keep that control there to make sure, but I think that when we do hire, we need to make sure we continue with good services for the community. We don't want to take a step back.
Yeah, I agree.
Timely fashion is huge on this, and if you think about it, like at the end, you say your septic's done, you need a certificate of compliance. If you don't have it, all the work could be done, everything could be fine. Like Mark came in today, he needs a COC. That's a big deal. In that case, the homeowner's living in the house, it's not a big deal. But if he's trying to sell the house, or the bank's waiting on it, or the insurance is waiting on it,
Or the people are
In a motel.
This came across the board before.
yeah.
And we said, that's ridiculous. And so I agree, again.
Yeah, I think, if I may, Mr. Chairman, that the banks are getting more strict. They do not like our certificate of compliance. They want it to either be notarized or different, so we have to change that. Because they're looking at our crumpled up piece of paper, a COC, that somebody had in the truck, and it's signed off by the installer and the builder and all that stuff for the owner, and then we have to sign off on it. They feel that it's not, they don't know if it's authentic.
So, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
so we could do one, well, just throwing it out there, we
Yeah.
could do several things, but do we have a perforated stamp that crimps paper? If we did a,
Well,
you know, like a,
I've had Andrea notarize them now.
yeah,
Because now if the bank wanted it, I had Andrea's, I sent her to make sure she's a notary. The bank was so, they said they would not accept the COC. So I had Andrea notarize, I signed a letter and she notarized it and we signed it and we sent it that way and they accepted it.
So that's correct.
yeah, that is correct.
Yep.
The other thing is maybe, well, obviously the bank could call this office,
But they won't do it.
but they won't. Or
They
is there a-
don't want to take the time. They just say, not authentic. What is this? Anyone can sign, anyone. This is not, I'm not gonna accept this.
Well, if you sat at closings, you get a stack of papers about
Oh,
this
yeah.
big, and it's a bunch of papers, so
It is.
it would make sense that you get your COC, it's perforated, it's crimped or whatever, and off you go. So maybe that will be the solution.
So I'm gonna develop a piece of paper that I would sign to say that the COC has been signed off on this property and Andrea's gonna notarize it, and so there's no question it's gonna go in the file. Because banks are getting real strict now, and they want something different. And we're facing this all the time, that they won't accept our COC.
I'm good with that, I think that's a great idea.
Makes sense.
So we protect ourselves also, but certainly the COC, people are waiting to get paid.
Mhm.
You know, the COC doesn't mean we're signing off on the building permit, and that's been the problem in the past, and saying, no, we got a second water test because of the deed restriction on the filter.
So, let's, if I may, so let's just talk about that, right?
Yes.
And I would never say this office, because that's not what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But it is easy to forge a notary. Anybody, there's a million of them in
Oh,
the
yeah.
state of Massachusetts. But it would be more difficult to forge a town of Charlton Board of Health crib.
We did, I already developed one ordering it.
You have one?
Yeah, it's gonna say Town of Charlton, Board of Health on it, and Andrews, they're gonna have to make it, but I said, these stamps are not good, we need to do something, so I said, Andrew, let's get something that is a seal that's perforated, that shows it's a Charlton Board of Health seal.
I think that's gonna be, I think that would be less likely to be forged.
Yeah.
Not that it would,
Because it's
but
gonna say Charlton Board of Health, and our stamps are gonna change, because they don't say Charlton Board of Health on them. Even when Jim had stamped them, there was nothing that said that it was Charlton Board of Health. It could have been any town.
just the Board of Health.
It's just said Board of Health. It did not say Charlton, and I think it should on
Yeah,
Charlton.
yeah.
It didn't say Charlton.
Yeah.
So, and that was one thing that I said, that's not good. We need to make sure we keep things, especially with paperwork, the girls have gone through every single file in here to make sure we've taken things out, scanned what we could because we're running out of room. Pretty soon we're gonna have to get more filing cabinets, because as the years go on, we're running out. And we just went through Andrea and I went downstairs and went through all the old paperwork that we could have destroyed, and we had boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff that are from so far back, but you need permission to destroy them. So we had to find out that this can go out for, and then having a truck come, shred it, and they're gonna shred all those, because there's no more room in the town hall just to have anything put downstairs, so. That's what we're gonna do. So, on the Title V thing, how does the board want me to go about this? What direction do you want me to go in?
I agree with, like you're saying, find a third-party independent company with their own insurance, and bring, whether we, I know there's people